Well, good morning, everyone,
Good morning.
and happy Tuesday to you. Today is Tuesday, April the 11th, 2023, and we're here at 901 Main Street in the heart of Old Town Conyers in the Assembly Hall, and we're calling our meeting to order this morning. We would love to have Elder Jeff Beach from the New Covenant Fellowship Church to come up and lead us in invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Elder Beach.
Good morning, County Commissioners and all of my fellow citizens blessed enough to be a part of Rockdale County. I bring you greetings from the entire congregation at New Covenant Fellowship, and especially our lead pastor, Reverend Mark Barber, who unfortunately could not be here. Just a side note, he, as many of us these days, find ourselves in a reverse role with our parents, taking care of them. And one of the reasons why I will be leaving early is to go do that, as we have just moved my father into a new care facility. So again, we appreciate and are humbled by being able to come and open us in prayer.
Yes.
Let us pray. Abba, Father, we do give you thanks as we rise again this day to an absolute beautiful, warm, sunny start to a cool breeze. Lord, we are knowing that we are grateful because we are a part of this community. And as a part of that community, Lord, we are a part of a bigger family that you have created, and continue, Lord, to show us each how you would have us serve, how you would have us use our time and talent and treasures, all to glorify you by working together to create an even better place, Lord, for us to work and live and enjoy each other. Lord, I do lift up this morning our leaders and continue to ask that you provide them with safety and protection and health, but also, Lord, the guidance and direction and the sense of discernment that can only come from you. Lord, as a citizen, I just ask that we all continue to seek ways to work and serve together, bringing unity to our community, Lord, so that we continue to grow, but we also continue to glorify you. So, Lord, we are just so grateful for this opportunity and ask that all that we say and do, Lord, would truly benefit all those around us. It's in your Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Together we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to Elder Jeff Beach from New Covenant Fellowship Church leading us in our invocation and pledge this morning. We certainly do appreciate all of the fine work that New Covenant is doing throughout Rockdale County and our community to make sure that we service the needs of our community. We so thank you this morning for being out here and being a part of our community. I also want to take a moment. I think Executive Director Relish, we're moving into Commissioner Special Recognitions, and we have up first is Rob's performance and Public District 51 for Outstanding Community Partnership. Director Redmond.
Good morning, Chairman.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Commissioners.
Good morning.
I've heard a wise man and two wise women say no one ever gets anything done by themselves. So with that being said, I wanted to take some time today to thank two of our partners that helps us with our events, some of our special events that we have for the community. One in particular, Mr. Rob Ward. Rob's performance has been in a business in Rockdale since 2007. Rob has been working with Parks and Recreation since 2021, helping us with special events and car shows. And the thing that makes Rob special, I'll just be honest, a lot of times people come to us, and when they would like to discuss hosting events with us, they're wanting to know what's in it for them. Rob has not ever asked for a penny. He's dedicated his time, his effort. He is responsible for getting the cars to the car show, and as you can see on the screen, those are some nice vintage cars. That one to the right is a '67 Camaro. He's just an awesome person to work with, and gives his time, back to the community, just to pass forward what he's been able to accomplish in his years in being a car guy. I don't like to call him a mechanic. I call him a car guy. He's one of the most honest car guys that I've ever met. So I just want to recognize him with this plaque in recognition for your ongoing community partnership and support of Rockdale County and Parks and Recreation. Rob, could you come up? You want to say anything, Rob? No. He doesn't like talking very much. All right, next up, I have a video that should cue.
My name is Melissa Gonzalez. I'm with the Publix Supermarkets Associate Relations Department here with District 51, and we are out here serving the community through our sustainability and environment programs and projects all throughout our company, from Key West to Virginia. We have over 7,000 volunteer associates giving their time back to their communities this week, which just goes with Publix's mission statement to be involved as responsible citizens in our community and give back to those that we serve, so that we're more than just a supermarket, we're a part of the communities that we work and live in.
Hey, I'm Karen. I am out here in the beautiful park today with Publix. I would say I've been an avid gardener for probably 20 years. I'm a humble leader, but a willing leader and a teaching leader. So if anybody wants to know anything about any of these plants, I will share my knowledge and I'll happily get my hands dirty doing it.
I'm the operations manager here at Costly Mill Park. I would like to thank Justin and his team at Publix for coming out today, Public Service Day volunteer in the park. We're so thankful and grateful for your service today.
I think that's it. It may have frozen, but that was it. So on March the 14th, Publix holds a Public Service Volunteer Day, and as you heard the young lady say, 7,000 of their workers spread out throughout the nation and volunteer in different areas. So Costa Mill Park was chosen by Publix District 51 to be a participant in this program, which is a great program. They paid for everything, the flowers, they provided all the labor to help spruce the park up for the upcoming spring season. So Ms. Landria Bing was the one who coordinated the effort, which is why she's standing here. I wanted to acknowledge her and her effort in coordinating this project with Publix.
Let's give Landria a round of applause.
So unfortunately, Publix worked so hard, they had to open the store today in Athens, and they could not break free to get here for this presentation, but we will make sure that they receive this presentation.
All right, very good.
Can I say something about, I don't know, Rob remembers, but he actually worked, one of Jasmine's first, like maybe her second car, was a Buick Roadmaster. The big ones with that took like $1 million worth of gas, but she just had to have that car, and it broke down. And Rob was her mechanic, and he got her rolling safely, and it did, like, I lived through the cost of getting that back together, so I still remember that, and I'm still appreciative, so thank you very much. That's it.
I appreciate Rob and Publix. We could not get in as much done as we do without the participation of our partners from the community. It makes such a big difference. So thank you, Rob, for being here today, and thank you to Publix also.
I forgot to thank you for the community service part of that. But I do thank you for that, and I do thank Publix for all that they do. Publix, it will actually has done a lot in the community outside of this, things that they don't get recognition for. I've called them Publix to help a lot also, so we thank them for all of their community service.
Well, let me tell you, when you think about Rob is a community go-to guy. He's a staple of Rockdale County. Anybody that knows anything about automobiles, and if you want to get your car fixed the right way the first time, from a reliable, trusted mechanic in our community, Rob is that guy. I've known Rob the whole time I've been serving. Several folks have said, go see Rob. He's the guy. That's just, so you have that reputation, and we do appreciate when you're just not a part of the community from a business standpoint, but you're part of the fabric of our community in terms of community service and giving back. I've heard Director Redmond talk about Rob, and every time he talks about him, he lights up, particularly when it comes to the car show. So we do appreciate you. We appreciate your business being here in our community and giving back. But it's not just Rob. I'm going to give a shout out to his team too, because he has a fantastic team. Even on those few occasions when Rob is not there, his team is still carrying the torch, and it says a lot about who they are as an organization in the county. And then there's Publix. Publix is probably, I live on the north side of the county, and I'm almost every other day leaving the office, stopping at Publix, and I'm always running into Citizens and somebody that, I think people think this is my selfie, take the selfie on aisle 12 place, because that happens all the time, and all of the employees over there, a good number of them anyway, they recognize and they know who I am, and I really appreciate the give back. The commitment to the community makes a big difference, and Director Redmond is right. He listened to myself and the commissioners. No one, absolutely no one gets anything done by themselves. It takes a complete village, and I think that's one of the bragging pieces or the points that we can boast about here in Rockdale County. We have one city, the city of Conyers, and the mayor and the chairman's office get along well, and all of the folks in the community, everybody knows everybody. You can make your way into any office and talk to folks and get things done. But it takes the collaboration of community involvement, and that's what we see here. So let's give them both another wonderful round of applause. Lastly but not least, Commissioners, I'd be remiss if I don't mention the great work of Ms. Alandra Bean. She has done a phenomenal job with turning the entire trajectory of Costly Mill Park into the new rebranding, all of the new amenities they have out there in the park. She's dressed up and decked out, and she's almost like that a lot of times, but she also gets dirty. She's out on the golf cart and out in the field doing things all over the park. And those are the kind of leaders that we like in Rockdale County, because all of us have to roll up our sleeve and get the job done. So let's give Alandra Bean another round of applause. Absolutely.
I was just commending her on the elevator about the new swag bag, the swag
Yes,
bag that
yes,
they get with the what are those? The promotional items. I loved it. Absolutely great, good, innovative things also. So I concur.
Well, listen, attitude is everything, and when we were able to transition Ms. Being out to Costly Mill, it was just a perfect fit, because her personality and her professional approach, her excitement about the park, and her attitude. Attitude is everything. It really is. So it's good when we have employees that it's a good fit all the way around. Give her another round of applause, y'all. Now, the excitement doesn't stop with Rob and Publix and Alandra. We now have some good announcement, because folks are working behind the scenes in Rockdale County to take care of our young people, our children. It is Child Abuse Prevention Month here in Rockdale County, as it is everywhere. And we want to make sure that we take a moment and we recognize those folks who are doing such great work behind the scenes to honor the children and make sure that we're doing what we can, our part, to prevent child abuse. Who do we have representing this morning?
So this morning we have Prevent Child Abuse Rockdale. We have Diane Howington and her group, and also the district attorney. And you should have a proclamation as well to read.
Let's see here. We certainly do. All right. I'm going to yield to Commissioner Washington and let her do the honors of reading this proclamation, and then we're going to call them everybody up. Okay. How about that?
Whereas, as part of the national observance of Child Abuse Prevention Month, Prevent Child Abuse Rockdale has organized a public awareness campaign to focus on prevention activities and services necessary to eliminate child abuse. And whereas Prevent Child Abuse Rockdale is a county-wide volunteer-based organization dedicated to the prevention of child abuse and neglect, providing numerous programs and services to the community. And whereas the tragic reality of child abuse is that it continues to be one of the most urgent family, health, and social problems in our city today, crossing all social, cultural, and economic boundaries. And whereas there were over 1,000 reports of child abuse and neglect in Rockdale County last year. I don't want to gloss over that. That's 1,000 reports of child abuse and neglect in this county last year. And whereas Rockdale County government and all of our citizens are committed to child abuse prevention, and we support every effort to protect our children. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Board of Commissioners of Rockdale County, do hereby proclaim April 23rd as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Rockdale County, and call upon citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, educators, medical facilities, and businesses to encourage their participation in strengthening our community through the prevention of child abuse. Signed by Chairman Oz Nesbitt Sr., Sherry L. Washington, Commissioner Post 1, and Dr. Doreen Williams, Commissioner Post 2.
I want to ask that Madam DA, if you would join us up front, join Commissioner Washington up front, along with Ms. Houghton and all the representatives that's working behind the scene to help prevent child abuse. If you all will give them a round as they're coming up forward.
Did you want to say anything?
Please.
We just want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today and for proclaiming the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. We are having a walk for prevention right here in Old Town Conyers on the 23rd of April, and we hope you all will join us. And because it does take a village, it takes all of Conyers to prevent child abuse, not just one group and one organization. We have to all join together to protect the children and protect families and strengthen families. And we thank you for being here.
Amen.
Madam DA, do you have a word you'd like to say? Okay. All right.
And Veronica with Defects is with us too. She's on our board.
Yes, I was going to mention Ms. Parrott, absolutely.
So maybe she could explain exactly what your organization does.
Tell me a little bit about your organization. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Please.
We do child abuse prevention programs all over the community. We do a First Steps program. Meredith Hutchison is the coordinator for that at Piedmont Rockdale. And we love that program because it puts in services before the stress starts, right when the baby is born. She serves 1,000 families a year. We do in-home parenting for at-risk families all over the community, and that's one-on-one services. We've started about 3 new programs this year. We've doubled in size, which is really, really exciting because the community really needs it. And we started programs with tutoring in the elementary schools because so many children got so far behind because of the pandemic. And so we're doing one-on-one tutoring with children that did not do excuse me, the virtual classes, and they didn't get the help at home they needed to do virtual classes. So we are doing at-home services with them. We're doing in-school services with them, and that's brand new for us. We've never done that. But all of these services are preventing child abuse. We also have a new resource center that Mr. Jeff Beach has helped us with, and we're able to provide gas cards and food cards and a lot of concrete supports like diapers and wipes and food and referrals to families that are just in desperate need of help. So you can't be the best parent you can be if you can't provide basic needs for your family. So if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer any questions, but please come out to our walk. You can just go onto our website and register there, or go onto Facebook, and we would love the support. And you get a t-shirt too. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. You can hear the passion as she speaks, and I'm so glad she made that very clear point. You can't be the best parent you need to be if you can't provide what you need for your children. And if you can identify with those families out there, particularly parents who are struggling, just trying to make ends meet day in and day out, there comes stress along with that. So thank you to all of our partners, Ms. Veronica Parrott and the folks at DFACS. We certainly do appreciate our DA's office and DA Alicia Johnson and all the work that they do. But Ms. Harrington, you've been a soldier for a long time. Let's give them another round of applause. So much to be excited about here in Rockdale County as we continue to move forward. People working together, people taking care of people. And that's what it's all about. That is exactly what we are, a community that cares. And we certainly do appreciate being in a place where people believe in taking care of their neighbor. Commissioners, Executive Director Rutledge, I believe we're down to item number 4 for the approval of the agenda.
That's correct.
Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
I move to approve the agenda as published.
I second that motion.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The item number 5, the approval of the minutes from March 28th, 2023 and April 4th of 2023. What's your pleasure?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries. There's no unfinished business, so that moves us right on to the consent agenda. And
I move to approve the items on the consent agenda as listed.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
We did all the heavy lifting without you.
I heard. Well, you all are very capable, so absolutely.
And in record time, I might.
I heard that too.
It really was. That was no joke.
Well, you know I'm back.
Yes.
Yeah, you had the whole staff. Let me just go ahead and pause for just a moment, because the whole staff could not wait till I got back to say, I said, how did the meeting go? It was lickety split. So, yeah, I heard you all had a wonderful meeting last week and you made record time. So let me go back to the agenda so we can keep rocking and rolling. Item number 8 is our regular agenda. Executive Director Rutledge.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Item 154 is rezoning case 2023-05, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 3362 Stanton Road from AR to CRS to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances, and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Right before I go to this next one, now I know that I always talk about there's over 300 churches in the community. And we have churches in Rockdale that still have the old school church fan. But doggone, if I don't need one up here this morning, the heat is sure enough working in this building this morning. I don't know who's responsible. I mean, it's getting kind of toasty. And I know this spring, these days have been kind of unpredictable there, but it's nice and warm in the assembly hall in Rockdale this morning. It's a little toasty up here. Just thought I'd get that out. Thank you, Chief Sanders.
Just another tactic to keep the meeting short.
Right.
All right.
All right, we'll get back on track here. Item number 155, please.
All right. Item 155 is a future land use case 2023-01, an ordinance to amend the future land use map of Rockdale County's comprehensive plan as amended, so as to redesignate property located at 163 and 169 Abbott Road from mixed-use employment center and medium-density residential category to high-density residential, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a second reading.
So I move to approve the second reading and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments regarding this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 156 is rezoning case 2023-03, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 163 and 169 Abbott Road Southwest et al. From R1 to MRU to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a second reading.
I move to approve the second reading and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 157 is rezoning case 2023-04, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning 2405 Southeast Salem Road, Conyers, Georgia 30094 from O&I to SCR-NC for commercial development, to impose conditions upon the property, to repeal conflicting ordinances, and for other purposes. This is submitted for a second reading.
So I move to defer this ordinance until the next regularly scheduled BOC voting session in order to put some conditions on this property and determine some uses ahead of time.
I second that motion.
Okay. It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So that one will be deferred, and we'll talk with planning and development about conditions, and we'll revisit all of it together. Okay, very good.
Before we,
Yes, ma'am.
can we kind of talk about that? Are we out of the, can we go back in? Because I just want to have, like, what are your thoughts, Commissioner, about
Well,
the conditions?
Some of the conditions, I think, could be limited to what kinds of uses it could be. They talked about a Whataburger at first. It, is a fast food place, the kind of thing that we want in that. If we switch the zoning, what is it that we would like to see as a board in that space?
And let me say that I did go through the overlay district legislation, like really peruse it. And the legislation, the way it was passed is amazing. You can kind of see where everybody was going when they created the overlay district. And I think to your point, it's up to us to protect what they were trying to do there, because I think a lot of things that are there now got a special use or whatever, and it's not what the overlay district was intended to do. So I agree that if we're going to have an overlay district, and all the time and attention and planning and vision for that corridor that went into creating it, we need to protect it and do, like you said, limit the uses and try to uphold the integrity of the overlay district.
And I felt like we probably hadn't had that discussion in depth, and so if we could just defer that.
That's I agree.
Okay. Well, one thing that's clear, this, by deferring it, it creates an opportunity. There's a window of time, a little bit more time, should I say, for the owner of the property to communicate with those in the immediate area. Folks put their thinking caps on and really think about what they'd like to see there. I think that's what it does. And it allows us before, and instead of this being just completely voted down today, it created a window of time, an opportunity for folks to talk and to really examine what's a good fit or best fit over there. One thing that is still clear, GDOT, the Georgia Department of Transportation, is certainly changing Salem Road into a 4-lane highway. So that's already a challenge within itself. So there's some limitations based upon the amount of space and acreage they're going to have in terms of where that old BB&T bank is right now. So it creates time to talk, and we'll come back and see.
And I think the conversation, it should be what they don't want to see instead of what they want to, because that, so the property is already limited because of the overlay district, period. So instead of, I think it should be, what do you absolutely not want to see in this space? And then we can go from there, because if we start saying, well, what do you want to see, then we further impose on the property owners.
And you're right, Commissioner. Just to add one other additional point, let's be very clear about this conversation. The old BB&T Bank on Salem Road this is an immediate conversation for all of those businesses that are in the Wall Street area, in that Salem Road district there. That's an opportunity for them to talk with the property owner, their attorney, to really make a decision in terms of what they like to focus, as you stated, focus on the can versus the can in terms of what you want to see. So anyway, this has been deferred, and when will we bring this one back? Because there's been a lot of interest with this one, Executive Director Rutledge.
It would be back on your agenda of May 9th.
May 9th. Okay. All right. I'm not sure if I closed it out, but we did close it out. Oh, okay. All right. Next item, please.
Item 161 is a resolution to create the 2023 Rockdale County Citizen Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax SPLOST Oversight Committee.
I move to approve this resolution as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any comments or questions?
Will it take too long to read the people who have committed to sign?
No, I think you should read them because it's a big deal. SPLOST is a big deal for Rockdale County. Let's just give those folks a round of applause. Let me say this real quickly before the commissioner begins to read the names and call out the names. Rockdale County cannot operate without SPLOST.
Absolutely
I just
not.
want to make that plain and crystal clear. When you think about transportation, you think about parks and recreation, you think about public safety, this community and quality of life, we have to have the citizens buy-in. We are the second smallest county in the state geographically. We need all of the additional funds that we can get, and the people passing through our community contributing to the growth and the prosperity of Rockdale County is a plus. I have to say this because we don't have the luxury as this thing moves forward to really talk much about it because it's in the hands of the citizens. SPLOST is important to Rockdale County. Just wanted to make sure I said that. Let's call those names, Commissioner.
Sure. Arthur Vaughn, I call her Avi, Avilia Williams Gaydon, Bill Huey, is that right? Huey, Cecilia Hemphill, Charles Staples, Charlotte Gellert, Danielle Smith, Derek Davis, Dexter Bowman, Doug Smith, Elaine Nash, James Stone, Jeffrey Allen Spencer, Johannes Vanderspeck, Josh Bettenhausen, Joy Douglas, Juan Sebastian Cruz, Margaret Wright, Mary Greco, Michael Sellers, Nichelle Ford, Pamela Perdue, Robin Berry, Roger Cannon, Sandra Weatherly, Sharmel Brooks, Sean Bilek, Stephanie Holloman Curtis, Tanya Cobb, Thomas Dean, Tawana Smith, Venus Arthur, Vanette DeAndre, William Campbell, and Yvonne Douglas. The subcommittees are the Finance Committee, Fire and E911, Parks and Recreation, Senior Services, Sheriff, Transportation, and the Courthouse.
Is that all of the names? Let's give them a wonderful round of applause. In addition, we have Director Hammer from General Services to talk about the next upcoming date. Director Hammer.
Good morning. I am so glad that you got to read those names, so I appreciate that. Yes, we're really excited to recommend this resolution. As you know, the county has had incredible success with the SPLOST program over the last 20, 30 years, actually. The SPLOST was begun in 1985, and I think the county has generated a lot of revenue and a lot of projects, a lot of return on the investment, both for taxpayers here, but also for anybody who comes into Rockdale and shops Rockdale. We benefit from that, so I'm very excited about that. The SPLOST committee, the oversight committee, will begin to meet next Monday, April 17th. They meet on the third Monday of every month. They'll do that through the remaining part of the year. It's at 6 p.m. at J.P. Carr Community Center, which is located at 981 Taylor Street.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. And let me tell you, Director Hammer has been intimately involved with SPLOST for quite a long time, working to make sure that all of the logistics and the room setup and everything that they need. Because, again, this is a serious undertaking. We can't operate without SPLOST, as I stated before, but I really do appreciate the time and talent of all of our local citizens who have committed and dedicated themselves to be a part of this movement to continue to move Rockdale County forward, because that's exactly what it is. When you really think about SPLOST, it's a movement. It's about moving the county forward, making sure that we stand on the cutting edge of technology and all the tools and resources that it needs to run and operate a community. When you think about fire trucks, you think about police cars, 911, you think about parks and recreation, quality of life, transportation projects. I mean, all of the number of transportation projects that we've already identified this year that would not have come to fruition had it not been for SPLOST. So again, let's give all of our volunteers, our community as a whole, another round of applause. Thank you, Director Hammer. Absolutely. Did we close this one out?
Yes, we did.
All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we're down.
Public comment.
Shut the front door. Okay.
Moving right along.
All right. We're down to public comment. All right.
I haven't received any cards.
No public comment cards. Going once.
All right.
Going twice. I think they must have. Y'all had a really quick meeting last week. They must. Okay. All right. We're down to board comments then. All right. So I'll start with Commissioner Washington.
Well, so I had the distinct opportunity to meet with our school superintendent, and I don't want to, well, we started this video series, and the reason why I wanted to start a conversation with the superintendent was because we go into the schools quite often. Mm-hmm. We're called to present or even talk to classes or career all the time. And I don't think I've ever gone into a school when I've not been impressed with the children, their quality of questions, what's going on. Usually the teachers and administrators are very engaged, and it makes you proud of Rockdale County, especially the Career Academy. The Career Academy almost made me want to go back to school now. Not really, but I had a great opportunity there. So in that vein, I started thinking that a lot of times our demographic, a lot of the people who watch Channel 23 or see us on a daily basis, they don't get to see those kind of things because a lot of those people don't have school-age children. And so my thought was to start bringing a lot of the things that go on in the school system, all the positive things that we see, to a video series so that the people that watch Channel 23 that don't have children or maybe come anywhere, visit our social media page, they can see a lot of the positive things that are going on in the school system. Because I've said it a million times, all three of us have said that we have one county, one city, one school system. We rise and fall together. So I wanted to, the video is a little lengthy, but it's good. So if we could roll the video, please. Hello, my name is Commissioner Sherry Washington with the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners. I am here with Dr. Terry Oates, who is the superintendent for the Rockdale County School System. We are here today because I believe that there are so many great things that are going on in Rockdale County School System, and I want to share those things with everybody. So, Dr. Oates, could you tell us some of those great things that are going on in Rockdale County School System?
The Georgia Milestones Assessment we're particularly proud of, because for the 2022 Georgia Milestones Assessments, we improved in 19 of the 21 assessments, and in the remaining 2 we held steady. That's very important considering the changes and adjustments we had to make during the pandemic.
Great. I know that we had a significant achievement in a sector of our high school graduation rate. Could you talk about that for one second?
Absolutely. So, and this is important because the graduation rate is multi-pronged. The one that we tend to all focus on the most is the 4-year cohort graduation rate. And that's the number of students who came in together as a cohort in 9th grade, matriculated through their sophomore, junior, senior year, and graduated, and in 4 years. And so that's the 4-year cohort. And let me just say, this is important. In 2019 and 2020, our 4-year cohort graduation rate exceeded the state's graduation rate. But we also calculate a 5-year cohort graduation rate. And then we look at the CTAE graduation rate, which are those students who graduate within 4 years, but in the process who complete at least one career pathway. And on that, we exceeded the state. We were at 99.13%. And the state was at 97%, which is awesome as well. So we're very, very proud of the fact that each year we're graduating more students who have a clearly defined set of expertise and experience and skill sets in a defined career pathway.
Good. So I know that we're getting ready to embark upon testing. Could you tell us why these tests are so important?
Sure. Well, each year we have our state assessments in the spring, so second semester, and we've scheduled our end of year assessments in May, right? Generally they're scheduled between mid-April or early April and mid-May. But we wanted to schedule it as late as possible to ensure that our teachers have time to teach all of the relevant standards and the related elements. But it's very important. It's the Georgia Milestones Assessment, which is a criterion reference test, which means it measures how students in grades 3 through 12 have mastered the curriculum or the course curriculum or the grade level curriculum. And it's extremely important because it is the basis for our district's accountability report. So that's why they're so important. And yes, and you may very well be asking about this, but they induce a level of anxiety for some of our students. And so I'll pause.
Well, I was going to ask if since you have already iterated that they do have produced anxiety, what are some tips that you have for the anxiety?
Well, I'll tell you, we certainly have the opportunity to share this with our students in my superintendent student advisory councils, because our focus for this month is on assessments, timely and intentionally. But we share with them, make sure you get a good night's rest, make sure you debrief. You don't want to be cramming, right? You've done, because your preparation has been being in the class and being engaged, but you want to do something that relaxes you. You also want to make sure that, as I said, that you're relaxed, you get a good breakfast the morning of the test, and we do a great job of providing that for all of our students if they wish to take advantage of that. But it's also about just really reinforcing positive messages to yourself that you're going to do well. And those are some of the tips that I think that work well. I think the best anxiety reducing strategy is to be optimally prepared, but short of that, it's these other tips that I've shared with you.
Great, thank you. Are there any resources available to students as they prepare for these tests?
Absolutely. All of our schools are dutiful and committedly providing students with preparation, test preparation, and it takes different forms. Some of the schools are doing it on Saturdays. Some of them are doing it as boot camps, and they're incorporating it within their schedule. Some are doing it before school. Most of our schools have a period during the day that is devoted to either remediation or enrichment or acceleration, and coming up on test time, they co-opt that segment for test prep. Listen, continuous improvement is the centerpiece of our district's new 5-year strategic plan, and we're in the initial year of this 5.
Wow, Commissioner, the check-in, how often are you gonna show? That's really good.
We're working on 2 and 3. We've gotten a whole lot of great feedback, and we wanted to we wanted to see how well this one went. It's a lot of work on PR, so thank you all again, PR, for your great work. And Andre, it's a lot of work on him because most of the questions he helped me, or he did formulate most of the questions. So we're hoping to do these at least quarterly or something like that.
Let's give Commissioner Washington a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. So, Commissioner, I do want to say this because I think this is a great idea to do this. To everything that you stated about whether you have a school-age child in the system in public schools here in Rockdale County or not, but for so many of our taxpayers who pay taxes toward the school system, this gives them a bird's eye view, so to speak, an inside look at what's really happening with our school system in terms of academic excellence, all of these requirements. And I really appreciate the question you asked Dr. Oates about what resources were available or are available for our young people to prepare for a lot of these tests that they have to encounter. So this is a great idea. I'm looking forward to more of these presentations with the school board, with the school superintendent, as well as the school board members, because I have to make mention, the school board members are the elected body of folks who have been elected by the residents, the citizens, to make sure that the schools run the way they're supposed to run.
So we started with me wanting to talk to the school board members, but the Dr. Oates is the spokesperson, so they were more comfortable with Dr. Oates doing the presentations.
Well, Dr. Oates is the school superintendent. He's the CEO, and he did a great job with your presentation. And I just look forward to more of the check-in that's coming up in the days ahead. Again, let's give Commissioner Washington another round of applause. Some more good stuff, absolutely. So I want to call up Director Dan Morgan from our EMA, Emergency Management Agency. He's got some information he wants to share with us.
Yes, thank you,
And then
Chairman.
I'm coming to Commissioner Williams. I hadn't forgotten you. Thank you.
I didn't think you'd forgotten.
No, I hadn't.
Because I would have reminded you.
Right, I know you would.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Let me be the first to wish you a happy NPSTW.
Okay.
That is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. I have 2 people with me. There they are. Okay. This is Maisha Calloway, our operations manager, and Brandy Hunt, one of our, can I say, senior supervisors now? You've been a supervisor for a number of years. National Telecommunicators Week is a way that we honor the public safety communicators in our community for their commitment, service, and sacrifice. And just to let you know, we celebrate them this week because they serve our communities 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we have 30 people who operate our center in Rockdale County, and they are there all the time, and they are top notch. I just wanted to bring them out and say thank you to them in a public forum.
And we want to say thank you to them. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Well, Director, before you leave, let me just say this, because all 3 of us realize, and I'm sure everyone in this room, but I want to just remind our citizens in Rockdale County how important it is to have qualified, competent 911 operators and dispatchers, because when and if you have to make that call to 911, you need someone who's cool, calm, collected, and have it together and competent about being able to send you the level of resources that you need in your time of need. then there's a lot of competitiveness across the region. I'm seeing stories all the time, I see them on the news, about 911 centers and the fact that they're losing folks and they're going from one agency to the next agency. The folks in Rockdale County, Miss Brandy, Miss Maisha, y'all get the job done for the people of Rockdale County, along with all other 28, 27 people that work over at our 911 center. We appreciate you. You are the heartbeat of Rockdale. Let's give them another round of applause. I'm telling you. Oh, I mean, yes. It's a big deal, Commissioner.
It is a big deal, and I just want to point out that Maisha is also part of our Stepping Up Steering Committee.
Yes.
Because that 911 call often is the beginning of that whole continuum of from that to perhaps law enforcement, to criminal justice and hopefully diversion. And so what she's doing is really key in stepping up.
Well, when I think about Emergency 911, this is the group that no one sees.
Right.
This is the public safety entity that you don't see because they're not in a fire truck,
right.
They're not in a police car, and they're not driving an ambulance. But this is where the rubber meets the road right here when you dial that number. And I've got family and friends all across the region, and I've heard multiple stories from folks calling 911 and they've been placed on hold, or they've got the wrong information, and those kinds of having qualified, competent people. I got to throw this in there, commissioners. You see, this is part of the reason why we have to pay and compensate our talent accordingly. For folks to stay here, they have to be able to take care of their families. Right. All of these other agencies, municipalities, and counties throughout this region, it's almost like we're in a wage war with folks. And one agency pays this much, and the other pays this much, and that. But it's also about how we treat our people, how we take care of our folks. This new state-of-the-art facility that's about to come online, and the amount, I'm so proud of the money we spent. It came across our desk here a few weeks ago about the chairs. They sit 12-hour shifts. So having a chair that meets the ergonomics of them sitting all day long, and then having that outlet inside the facility where they can go and debrief. I can't say enough about the value and the importance, the significance of our 911 dispatchers and operators who take care of the people of Rockdale County day in. We really appreciate you all. Please get the message back to everybody else. Let's give them another round of applause. Director Morgan, your leadership is clear, and we appreciate you leading this team. I can't think of anybody else in this community that is more passionate about EMA than you are. And you are the face and the voice of EMA in terms of the corporate decisions that we're making from a board of commissioners, and we appreciate your leadership. And we also appreciate, because commissioners, you got to remember, just like stormwater, this is a relatively new department. Remember when Director Morgan was the fire chief, he was wearing two hats. He was the fire chief and he was the director of emergency management agency at the same time. So we've split those two areas of responsibility up. We have a fire chief and we have EMA director. And I tell you, I've watched this department go from ground zero to where they are now, and they continue to soar, and that includes the division of 911. Absolutely.
Thank you. One fun fact.
Yes, sir.
Maisha is not just wearing a fashion statement. For this week, to build and to show the camaraderie that we have one team, we don't have 30 individuals up there. They are celebrating this week with Mardi Gras themed activities, and it's a good spirit in the room.
I saw the pictures and those photos of what they've done over at the E911. It really made you think you were somewhere in the heart of New Orleans at the Mardi Gras. So the pictures, the colors, the balloons, it all looks really good.
How do we get an invite to the Mardi Gras themed activity? Oh, I need details.
Maisha will send you a list.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Give them another round of applause. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good folks behind the scenes getting it done. Let's go to Commissioner Williams for her board announcements.
Okay, first up, I have asked Director Hammer to give us an update on the building for the Restorative Justice Complex that's located out on Highway 138, just before you get to Highway 212.
Director?
Good morning again.
Good morning.
Yes, so we have two different areas, the Restorative Justice Center, like she said, down at 2800 Highway 138, down on the south side. We're working on the exterior renovations, and then we're working on the interior. The exterior is a little bit easier, as we already had funding lined up for that, so we've replaced the roof, so that's now watertight. They've done repairs on the soffit, on the trim around the building, and repaired the gutters as well. And they've also removed some of the old signage that was identifying it as the previous owner, and we're preparing new branding for the signage that will go on shortly. So that's on the exterior. The interior is a little more complicated because that requires the full scope of work with all the stakeholders. The team has visited, I think we talked about that previously, has visited 2 regional centers in Milledgeville and Macon, I believe was the second one, last month.
And we've also toured one in Savannah.
Okay, 3 then, yeah, wonderful. We've also engaged the architect to prepare a concept sketch. There's a plethora of not just the needs from all the stakeholders and the people moving in, but also the code compliance with state agencies, the mental health, and everything else that goes into that. So we're doing this in a 2-stage. Phase 1 is going to be prepare a concept sketch that will outline all of the requirements for each of the areas and each of the different programs that goes into the building. We're moving forward on that already. They've held a kickoff meeting. Ms. Snow is meeting with the stakeholders over the next couple weeks to get all of their input and all of their requirements. That'll be compiled into the concept, and then once that is completed and reviewed by everybody for compliance, then we'll proceed to phase 2, which would be full construction drawings, architectural engineering, all the rest of that, and then from there to bidding out publicly and then to construction. So that's where we are.
Thank you so much for that update. Appreciate it.
It sounds exciting too, and Commissioner Williams, you've just got to be super excited as you watch this project come together and unfold, particularly that location, the facility out on 138.
It's perfect. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, and I might mention that Mary Lou Snow, who is the project manager for this project, it will be meeting with a person from DBHDD this Thursday to talk about what kinds of equipment needs to go in, what the state regulations and codes are, and how that all needs to happen so that that can all then be relayed to the architect who is already engaged, Doug Smith, I think it is, Doug Smith with Jericho. And he also went with us to Milledgeville and Macon and toured those buildings also. We had a meeting yesterday with Mary Lou and Chad Jones from Viewpoint Health to talk about the operations side of it. We met for about an hour and a half, and it was really very thorough and very informative. We'll be submitting a letter of intent and a proposal this summer to DBHDD for the 25 fiscal year for the funding for the operations of this. Chad is very, very positive that that's going to come to pass, that that's not going to be a problem. And then we talked about how we've got Grit and Grace in one end, and then the Crisis Service Center in the other end. The fact that this is going to be the first one and only one in the state of Georgia where the peer component is right next to the service component. And which is the way the trend is going. Right. But the middle section, Judge Mumford, several years ago when we first toured the property, made a request that said, you know, what about some transitional beds in there? So we talked about that at length yesterday and what that would look like. There is a place in Norcross called the Resting Spot that has those transitional beds. It's run by a nonprofit who does that sort of thing. I think that theirs is run through the United Way, or the provider was recommended by United Way. But that will, so we looked at that. Chad's going to arrange a site visit for us to see that particular spot. They run theirs as a shelter just because it requires a lot less regulations than if it were temporary observation beds or something like that. Yeah, then you've got all kinds of red tape. It would be for people coming transitioning out of jail who have no place to go. They could go there instead of having to wait in jail 3 or 4 days or 2 weeks sometimes before an appropriate housing placement is made. So I think that's going to be a really valuable component of it's going to look at the whole continuum there of what's happening and how it will come about and what services will be available. And Chad will actually put together a subgroup to look at this transitional bed section. And we've been talking about those transitional beds since the beginning. Okay, the other thing I have is that I would like to announce that today that we are working on an initiative to become a dementia-friendly county. And we have set out a whole list, and Deidre has done all the work on this as we have met together, and then she's taken everybody's ideas and put it all down. But the potential goals will be education to the community, social and supportive programs. We've met with Susan Morgan, who's the Deputy Director of the Senior Services. We met with Susan and got lots of good ideas and connections from her, lots of good information. And so we're going to continue to promote the idea that dementia is among us, and my guess is almost everybody has had experience with someone in their family or a friend who's had some form of dementia. There are dozens of different kinds of dementia. Alzheimer's is just one. And so we want to make sure that should you, for instance, run into somebody in a grocery store maybe who's having trouble, looks like they're confused about what to get or how to get it, that maybe you need to offer help, that kind of thing. We have had both. It's easy to become a dementia champion, and both Director Rutledge and Director Sanders and Ms. Golston have already completed that and are now considered dementia champions. And so the more people we can get to do that, the more awareness we can bring to the community of just, like I said, just simple ways that you can interact with someone. So those are my comments for today.
That's some good stuff, Commissioner. Absolutely. Very good stuff. And I didn't know that about Chief Sanders and Executive Director Rutledge and Ms. Chester. All of y'all are the new Mod Squad for
Dementia
okay.
friendly.
All right. Very good. Let's give them a round of applause. Absolutely.
It's actually Ms. Golston.
And Ms. Golston, yes. Ms. Golston, let's give Deidre Golston a round of applause back there. Absolutely. Yes. The people that check on people, we appreciate them, absolutely. So I'm going to call up the Public Relations Deputy Director Caldwell. Come on up, Deputy Director Caldwell from Public Relations. She's got several things she wants to share with us. Some have already taken place and some are about to happen.
Good morning,
Good
Madam
morning.
Commissioners, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
So as you know, the Public Relations Department has been very busy. March 30th was a State of the County. Where we not only reimagined Rockdale as we discussed the past, the present, and the future, we also honored community members with the awards, and we have a small recap for everyone.
Okay.
Good evening, and welcome to the 2023 State of the County Address. I am a public servant. I am here to serve you as we partner together to move Rockdale County forward. I consider it an honor to be your chairman, and I want to thank each and every one of you all for the privilege to serve.
And if you did not make it out for that, the video will also be on Channel 23, Vimeo, and YouTube.
All right.
In addition to that, we had the Linda Ham event, the Chairman's Linda Ham event. This year marked the 14th annual Linda Ham event on April 2nd, 2023. During this event, hams donated by the community are distributed to seniors as a way to ease the strain of the holiday season. And we also have a video recap for that. That video is also available.
We pray, God, that you will allow us to be a blessing today to those that are coming through to be recipients of these hams.
I feel like it's a gift from God.
Well, blessed because, these people care for us, and the county is good about that, and are there for us all the time.
Just to know that people care, and willing to help each other out.
I'm telling you, the ham is the most expensive part of that meal for Easter Sunday. It will have a major impact.
It helps a lot of people eat for Easter. It's just a wonderful thing.
Children and grandchildren sitting around the dinner table on Easter Sunday. But it also gives a sigh of relief to a grandmother or grandfather and grandparents who are trying to make a way.
I cook it and give it to my grandchildren, my great-grands. When they come by, if don't, I send them some.
Bless every car, every person in every vehicle that has come through.
Oh, I'm glad that somebody's here to help us.
For 14 years, Team Oz and Rockdale County have been giving out hams to our senior citizens. So many of our senior citizens are stuck.
Makes a lot for me because I'm a retired veteran and on a fixed income, it hurts. Especially the way things are going up. Prices going up too high.
This has been the toughest, hardest year we've seen, the most challenging year because of inflation.
This is something that we couldn't afford if it was, we couldn't go out buying this month.
I mean, even our donations were extremely down. Oftentimes there are 2 or 3 people in the vehicle or someone picking up a ham on behalf of another person. This year we were limited to 1 ham per vehicle. And then all of these volunteers and employees here in Rockdale County and Team Oz.
Just to be a part of a community that puts the senior citizens first, it makes you feel really good inside. It makes you have some type of reassurance that you're a part of a community that believes in giving back.
Go to the Story Pension, I'm a senior citizen, I come here, it's a great thing to do.
We realize that when we are in need of a blessing, the best thing that we can do is be a blessing.
Wow, let's give all of our donations a round of applause. Each year we do the Linda Ham, and I tell you, it just seems like it just jerks at you every year from an emotional standpoint because there are so many senior citizens that are in need and on a fixed income, and we certainly do appreciate And this year, as I stated, was really, really tough because of inflation and all of those things. But we appreciate every person who donated a ham, and we appreciate all of our corporate sponsors to make sure that we were able to come up. Even though our donations were down this year, we were able to service every single person that came through the Linda Ham event on Palm Sunday. So I was a little nervous, but everyone that came out to receive a ham was certainly a recipient of a ham. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing. So I just want to make sure we say thank you to all those good people. And to Ms. Katrina Carter from the Public Relations Department, who served as our official Linda Ham coordinator. Let's give her a round of applause. Absolutely. Sometimes Easter, if you all remember, there's a few years that Easter and spring break and all that stuff kind of comes real fast at the top of the season. And this year, Ms. Carter was challenged with a very small amount of time to collect 400 hams. And so we were up against, we had the State of the County address. They were doing so many things out of public relations, and she was busy trying to round those hams up to make sure we had enough to give out. So it was really, really a challenge, but we were able to reach the goal. So thanks to Ms. Carter for her work. Absolutely.
The last thing we have is info session. So as you know, we've been doing info sessions. So the upcoming next Wednesday, April 19th at 6 p.m. in the auditorium is the next session. This month's presentation is by Planning and Development. We hope that the community will attend and ask their questions to learn more about the Planning and Development Department. Even though it is live streamed, the best way to come out and ask your questions is in person.
All right, very good. Thank you, Deputy Director Caldwell from Public Relations. And I'll tell you, this info session is a big deal, and it's this is going to be an interesting one, particularly with planning and development. There's a lot of concerns about development throughout our community, and people have a lot of questions as the county is evolving and changing. So I echo what she just said about its own live stream, but we encourage you to come out and participate and present your questions right then and there. And then you'll learn about what's really going on in the community. I want to get ahead of the curve a little bit. I want to start announcing that this is another big deal, commissioners. On the north side of Rockdale County, we're getting ready pretty soon to have the groundbreaking for Fire Station number 10. Come on up, Chief Mack. This is a huge deal, particularly for anyone that lives on the northern side of Rockdale County. Tell us about this ribbon cutting.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Madam
Good morning.
Commissioners. We're running a little behind this morning because ever since we set a date for this groundbreaking, I've been walking around with my shovel, because I'm ready to get in there and break some ground. So super excited. Rockdale County Fire Rescue, we run last year almost 12,000 calls, and with 9 stations covering 132 square miles. So having this 10th station on the north side of town is going to increase our service availability to the citizens and communities of Rockdale County. So we're super excited for May 17th at 11:30 up at north end of town, 3100 Highway 138, I believe. And we're super excited. So come out. And I'm looking to break some ground and get this going because it's been a long time coming. Yes. I started here in 2017 and we were coming together with this. So now that we're ready to move forward with it is amazing.
Well, Chief, we certainly appreciate you accepting that torch from back then, Chief Morgan.
Absolutely.
And you and your team are running with it, and the folks on the north side about to see Fire Station number 10. Absolutely. Let's give them another round of applause. And Commissioners, I must add a little bit beyond what the Chief just said about the importance of Fire Station number 10 coming to the Northern District of Rockdale County. When you think about the Northampton subdivision, the folks out at Wellington Estates and Wellington Chase, the folks at Oaks at Haynes Creek, the Costly Mill area, all of those areas depend right now on our station coming with station number.
Fire Station 1 up at Sigmund and 138, yes. And Station 5, which is over on the West High Tower side. So our response times are about 5 minutes or less, and that's good because the nation standards is 7 to 8 minutes. So we are right there. However, having this station is going to be able to provide quicker service in that area and extend the service out.
Well, Chief, thank you. And I also want to give a shout out to the pastor and the members of the North Rockdale Baptist Church.
Absolutely.
Because it is their property that we were able to acquire right next door to the church. I got a text from the pastor last week, and he said that they're going to be there, and they're going to make sure the members, as many of the members can be out there. He says, Chairman, we're going to open up the church parking lot, so if you want to display a couple of fire trucks, the gate that's normally closed will be wide open, and you can also use that for parking. So that's a big deal.
And Mr. Chairman, earlier you mentioned about the importance of SPLOST for Rockdale County.
Yes,
if you're
thank you.
traveling up and down the north end of 138, we have a nice sign there thanking and representing SPLOST, because SPLOST is responsible for this.
Chief,
So-
I appreciate you adding that. You're absolutely right. There's a sign that says coming soon and referencing the fire station, but it also has SPLOST on there, letting
Correct.
people know this is a result
Absolutely.
of SPLOST in Rockdale
Seeing
County.
your money at work.
Absolutely. Commissioner?
So I'm up and down that road because I have a daughter that lives in Monroe,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter who's in the car or how many times we've been past it, I always say, and that's where Station 10 is going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very visible. So super exciting. We thank you all for your support.
Thank you so much.
So you know, I like the numbers, like how far, where we've gone and where this is going to put us in relation to our, was it
ISO. Yes.
ISO. So could you share that information again?
So up under Director Morgan, who was fire chief, he improved our Rockdale County Fire Rescue ISO from a 10 to a 3.
What does that
And so the Insurance Service Office rates how well a fire department is doing and how well they're serving the community. A lot of those things have to do with infrastructure and things such as that. So having this 10th fire station, and if I might add, with the addition of our new training complex coming, we are confident that we're going to get to that 2, and eventually that 1. We're up for our next inspection at the end of the year, and we're confident that 3 is going to go to a 2. So that's better insurance. When we talk about economic sustainability development, that's going to be good, huge for our residents.
Yes.
Your insurance, hopefully it will get lower, putting more money in your pocket so you can donate more money to SPLOST.
That's
So
always
it's
good.
just-
Right.
Right.
It's a revolving cycle.
Revolving cycle.
Right.
So we're taking, but we're giving back too.
Right,
So,
right.
But it really speaks to how well we're able and capable of serving the community.
Well, that's very good. Good question. Good point there. Let's give both another round of applause. Absolutely. Thank you, Chief. Thank you so much. I tell you, as I move to wrap up our meeting this morning, so many wonderful and exciting things that are happening all throughout Rockdale County. I also want to encourage all of our citizens to be sure to take a look at our website, a brand new, exciting website. And I also want to give another shout out. I don't know whether you all did this or not, but Executive Director Will Barkley and the folks over at the Tax Assessor's Office was open on April Fool's Day, on Saturday, April the 1st. And he had a good number of folks. In fact, he sent me a text that day saying, Chairman, we're rocking and rolling over here. Folks are coming into the Tax Assessor's Office and they're getting their business. So it was a big benefit and a big plus to open up the office on that Saturday to be able to accommodate people who sometimes their schedules are a little challenging. So Executive Director Barkley, to you and your staff, we certainly do. That is what I'm talking about when we talk about customer service. Meeting the customers where they are and getting outside, you talked about this, Commissioner, getting outside of our own comfort zones and opening the doors to service the people in Rockdale County. Now, I'm a fan of technology. Yes, I'm a little old school, but I'm a fan of technology as well. But one thing that you won't be able to remove, and that is the human element. You will not be able, you're going to have people in place to be able to service people. So, I just want to make mention of the fact that we're in a community where we can open up our doors and go above and beyond to take care of our citizens. And we do that here with service delivery in Rockdale County. My last comment is that 2 years ago, during a board retreat, the 2 commissioners and I really embarked upon a new level of understanding. And that new level of understanding was centered around one word: inclusion. And I want to thank Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams. And I really was thinking about this morning. I've seen a tremendous difference in this board, working together, collaborating. I've seen a tremendous difference in the response of our executive staff as well as our directors in getting the job done on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Clear communication, collaboration, being concise, understanding Reimagine Rockdale, but working in concert and in tandem together. That's what inclusion, we talked about that during the State of the County address. That's what inclusion is all about. You gotta have a chairman who runs the day-to-day operation, but no one gets anything done by themselves. We don't leave it to just policy and budget time of the year to include post 1 and post 2. And I want to say to Commissioner Washington and to Commissioner Williams, thank you for embracing the new understanding of the word inclusion, because it has really benefited this community and what we do day in and day out to get the job done. And thank you to our staff, because having the right people in place really makes a difference when you're communicating so many different high-level things on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. So inclusion is important. We will continue down that pathway of being inclusive and making sure that we include all of the mindset and the thoughts coming from the three of us are so different. We're very different dynamics of personalities here. But by being on the same page to know that we've got to row this boat in the same direction in order to get to where we're trying to get to. And I really appreciate all of the sights, sounds, and smells along the scenic highway and the pathway that we're traveling on in Rockdale County to move us forward. So join me, give the two commissioners a round of applause. Yes.
Happy birthday to us.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, and it's the proof is in the pudding, commissioners, because you all are certainly communicating very well with the staff, and we're working in concert and in harmony on behalf of, when I think about all of what's going on in the region, Rockdale County has a whole lot to be proud of. So it's a poor frog that won't praise his own pond, and this pond belongs to us, and I'm praising it, baby. Executive Director Rutledge, am I missing any announcements between you and Chief Sanders that are critical to the ears and eyes of our citizens this morning?
So I don't have any other announcements, did you?
No. We're going to talk about the recess.
Well, we talked about it earlier, but I'll say it again. So we will meet again in May. We will be on spring recess. Our first board meeting will be May 2nd.
All right, well, that's something to be excited about. Then get a little break.
You can say it twice. It's okay, right?
Very good. All right, very good. Well, as it relates to today, is there any need for executive session?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out. Happy Tuesday, and this meeting is adjourned.